The beauty of you controls me. The beauty of you contains my soul within. The beauty of you consumes the fire inside. And I don't mind, no, I don't mind at all. All this world has to offer is always less than what you provide me. Yet all this world has to offer is second best to anything you've tried to do for me. And I see the beauty of you excites me. The beauty of you entice my soul within. The beauty of you engulfs the fire inside. And you know that I know that you know I don't mind, not at all.
Oh, let me see. I'm gonna tie this one. Huh. All right. I am finishing up a song I wrote a while ago. There's no video, there's no sound? What do you mean there's no sound? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me see. Oops. Really? There's no sound? That's weird. There's no sound at all? Oh. Why are you making me crazy, Vinny? I'm trying to play a song here I wrote. And I just screwed up. Now I gotta put the guitar away. Never mind. I wrote it on piano anyway. How you guys doing? It's Valentine's Day in 2 days. Here in Michigan, it is what's the temperature right now? 18 degrees Fahrenheit. 18 degrees. I was talking to about 15 people today. I went to a funeral. I hate funerals. Oh my God. It was so it's funny. 3 people have died this week that or within the last week. And I can't even tell you. One I went to school with back since I was a kid, and he lived about 2 miles from where I'm at right now. Did a lot for me. I posted about it. Not trying to be the doom and gloom guy. Sorry, man. I'm really not. This guy had more going on than anybody. He didn't even have to do what I did. And he had like 50 times more friends than I ever did. And Harry, hope you're doing good. Cheers, brother. I went to see him really quick a couple days ago. I got there at the end. And then today I drove all the way to pick up a lady I worked for the last, umpteen years. I used to be her private security detail, and she was a very prominent woman. They made a lot of major things happen here in Detroit behind the scenes. And one of the last things she did was help put a baseball park together downtown for a team called the Detroit Tigers. And that's just one of the many things she did. But I've been with her, her friend, her caretaker, everything for the last back active again the last 2 years since I got back from Nashville. And I'm going back to Nashville hopefully soon. And this is for my 2%, my 2%ers, because I know that if you, just to give you an idea, you don't have to raise your hand or anything like that. I posted 10 things yesterday and 10 things today. And if you only saw 1 or 2 things, that means I've taken you off my list permanently. And that's only because I know that it probably bores you, turns you off, whatever. And I said I was going to do that. I have a friend, Vinny, he loves to post all the time. And he's really good at it. He posts like 15 times a minute. But all right, Vinny. But I know that it was funny because I just saw the Super Bowl. I had a lot of haters on that one. I wasn't even invited to one party because I was a Patriots fan. I know you don't care. Wait, hold on. Why don't I have the comments on top? Here, that makes it look better. There you go. It's still effing cold. It is cold here. I've got this thing on. You know, I bought this a year ago. I'm going to jump all over the place real quick. I'm not going to stay on super long. I started late. I'm watching Nashville 911. And they have this exact same outfit that I had on when I was a firefighter. My helmet was yellow, not black and yellow, but I know that they changed them since. So I'm I'd love to be an extra on that show. I know I could probably still do it, you know. Anyway, but what was I going to say? I'm just so damn old. So I went to Harry's funeral, and then I went to a funeral today for a mother, 40 years old. 40 years old, and I know her husband really well. I've met her before. Mother of three kids, 2 daughters, 1 son. The son's 4 years old, and the daughters are 11 and 13. And she was at U of M. She worked there. And for the last 8 weeks, she's been in and out, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. They still don't know. People ask me, it's the first question everybody always asks me, what happened? I don't know what happened to Harry. I don't know what happened to Janice. That's her name. And watching her husband, who's just as, he was Americanized about 10 plus years ago, right? And he met his wife about, they've been married 14 years. She would be 41 coming up in June. Think about that, you know? And real nice career, great mother. The husband, he owns a landscaping company. That's how I met him, through the lady I work for, because he does her landscape in this really nice neighborhood for the last 18 years, I guess. And what was I going to say? And then, you know, just watching this guy that's always got a smile on his face, no matter what, always positive, always. And he's sitting there the whole time like this. And I'm about 20 feet to his right. And it's funny because I was in this church. And, you know, there's so many religions in the Christian religion. That's why I'm not Catholic anymore. I was Catholic. In fact, I got married at the oldest Catholic church in the United States, second in the country, number 1 in the Michigan. Oldest church, and actually the oldest church in Michigan. I'm not kidding. Built in the 1700s. I don't even know, was America even a country? I know in 1776. So whatever, I think it was just right after. It was a fort, like a French fort. But anyway, so I guess it was an Assembly of God church, and it was bilingual. It was Spanish and English. I know. Can you believe it? And I laugh about that because I have friends that are really religious, but they're not really religious. They're kind of the what do you call it? What's his name? Paul. And there's different versions of Christianity. I don't want to get into religion because I have too many religious friends, but they don't have a frickin' clue about actually the Bible. You know, it's not anything like the Sermon on the Mount, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just whatever is made up in their head. And I know that there's, you know, I just found out there's almost 50,000 versions of Christianity in the United States alone. 45,000 to be exact, and counting. Last year was 33,000. So it was kind of weird, but every time I go into one of these different churches, they're always singing pretty much the same things. In fact, I recorded some of the songs. Like, I know that song, but it's in Spanish. And it's funny because, you know, you would think that I would know that, you know, because that's half my heritage. And, but I have a lot of Caucasian friends that don't take kindly to the fact that I am not Italian. Okay. I'm part Italian, like 10% I found out, you know, those, what do you call those tests? And I knew that for a long time. And I'm also Polish. I'm also Romanian. They have nothing to do with each other. Isn't that kind of crazy? So, you know, I know, but I have a lot of racist friends. They don't think they are, but they are. It's okay. It's okay. I still love you. You know, I get it. You know, and the irony is that Jesus wasn't even alive, he was. America wasn't even a country until 2,000 years after he had died. English wasn't even a language until 1,000 years after he died. Did you know that? He spoke Aramaic. You know how to speak Aramaic? I don't. The only time the only way I know that was because there was this this movie. It was a silly little movie. It and people went crazy over it. And the guy who I like as an actor, he was sexiest man on People magazine a bunch of times, Mad Max, Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson. He created this movie because he's a hardcore Catholic. And he had the money. The studios, none of the movie studios, none of them, even with all the millions that he made, would not back this movie up. It was called The Passions. Maybe you remember this one, of the Christ, right? Passions of the Christ. And it was a real brutal movie. It depicted, the last, part of his life before he got tortured and killed and crucified. And, but it was funny because in the movie, who was the guy? Jim Caviezel. Played the part of Jesus, and Jesus of Nazarene or whatever, and he was speaking Aramaic, and I was like, "What language is that? It's not Italian. It's not. It's not. I don't even know what Middle Eastern language that was." So, that's all I know, and everyone went brutal on that. But I found out another friend died, and I don't even. By the way, I think English is the only language he speaks because he does a lot. He would do a lot of Frank Sinatra. Italians love him. His name was Mark Randizzi. Real cool guy. I met him a long time ago. He gave me a lot of advice on music and things like that. And he would sing mostly covers of Frank Sinatra. And he had his own show at Andiamo and, high-end parties in and around the Motor City. He had the Motor City Horns, same band, same brass section that would tour with Bob Seger in the Silver Bullet Band, if you ever heard of them. Nashville, right? Out of Detroit. And one of our crown jewels of the city. Bob, I think, just turned 80 years old. I don't know if he's still touring anymore. But so that was kind of I don't know why he doesn't really have a footprint in Nashville. Kid Rock does. He's got two things. He's got the Kid Rock Steak House Bar where a lot of bands play. And then he's got the Detroit Cowboy. And I met Kid years ago, a couple times at a record store, Record Time, briefly. But he was a rapper back then. And then I met him in 96, 30 years ago when I started my business. It was at a theater in Mount Clemens called JD's 2000. Then it became the Emerald Ballroom, and I think Kid Rock had something to do. He put some time into that. And another guy I know, Ronnie Masters, who's a local musician forever. I don't know what it is right now. I was there a couple of years ago, and it was the same inside as it was 30 years ago. It's kind of crazy, but but I know Kid Rock moved. He was about 5 miles southeast of where I was living, literally not even 5 miles. And the house looks like a White House up in the hills, and it's got a private driveway. It's pretty cool. But that's all I know. And Jack White's down there. Eminem is, and he's here. So I don't know. I don't really know all the living superstars of Detroit anymore that are doing whatever, but that was it. Valentine's Day, that's coming in a couple days. I don't know if I take any of that seriously. I guess I should, but I did write that song. It was called The Beauty of You. And it was going to be more of a commercial pop hit with a lot of orchestrations, which I can easily do. String sections, synthesizers, the whole 9 yards. But I stripped it down and I made a few versions of it with guitar, piano, strictly piano, whatever. Because when you try to pitch a song in Nashville for other people to do besides yourself, you want it pliable, stripped down, and then they kind of add their own little touches to it, change chords, do that. So you want it simple, and hopefully somebody might like it and stick to it. Which reminds me, I've got to renew my Nashville Songwriting Association fees this week. But other than that, yeah. So, but you know what? Being in that church today, every time I get into a church, it's kind of weird. I've been there more for funerals than anything. And you look around and you're going, man, there are so many people that put their faith in something. They put their love and faith in their children and their significant other, right? Kind of hence the Valentine's Day correlation. Because it's a romantic holiday, it's a fun holiday, but it's a holiday you better not forget. You better have some candy or flowers or a nice dinner plan or maybe even a vacation, depending on what she's used to. I don't know what women do more back for the, my ex-wife wasn't really good at that. She wasn't, I always planned everything. She didn't really do anything. I can't imagine what she's doing now for her 14 years of boyfriend, but that's okay. That's all right. It's not my, but being romantic has got to be one of the lost arts. It's got to be the lost art. It really does. I think that, some guys are really good at it, and, maybe that's something that they should teach. Me, I just write songs. So that's about it, or when as a DJ, it was funny when I was at the clubs, and I didn't just target lovers' holidays like Sweetest Day or Valentine's Day, what have you. Every weekend when I work at a club, I don't care if it was a kicking club, thumping club, whatever, I would always at midnight around that time, I would always play 2 slow songs because I knew that the girls were going to skate out, maybe go to another bar, or meet their boyfriend or some guy, whatever, somewhere else. And one of the ways I kept them there was, when I play a slow song, the mood changed, the lights got dimmer, and there was a guy that was pretty shy or whatever, maybe not, but they would always have an opportunity to engage and, hey, how you doing? Would you like to dance? And then maybe something would spark from there. And a lot of times it did, right? And then at the end of the night, I would do the same thing. Before they'd go out into that cold air or go back home or whatever, you got your second chance. It was like I was playing matchmaker without even, I was like eHarmony without the eHarmony. And that's kind of what, it was fun though. I really liked it. And I loved the way singers would sing some of those songs. I'd play an old song, classic song, and then I'd play like the newest song out there. It could have been Babyface, or it could have been this, or it could have been that. And, just some sexy song that just got you, in the mood. And it was always like Valentine's Day every day when I would play somewhere. And I still do that when I do parties. I'll play like, let's see, my go-tos. Well, there's a whole bunch, but one would be Let's Stay Together by Al Green. As soon as you hear that, the horns and all that, everybody just stops. They automatically recognize the song. They do. They just like, it gets it, and does it take away the cool factor? Because I'm not playing like some, killer EDM song or some hip. I'm like, nah, I don't care about that. Now, if people ask me for it, I'll play it. But it's always about nothing. Even at a boring wedding, if you play a ballad, it could be Lionel Richie, it could be Eric Clapton, it could be Garth Brooks or Leanne Ryan. It could be any classic love song. It's going to win. You'll have 50 people on the dance floor, guaranteed, just like that. Not Bruno Mars, not Leonard Skinner, not Kid Rock, nobody. It's got to be a ballad. It's got to get that groove. I'm telling you, and it works every single time. It's like magic. Is that magic or is it an illusion? No, it's just, you get your fire on, you get your groove, and whatever. What'd you put? Well, dances got more ridiculous. Nowadays, everybody's dry. Oh, brother. Each other before they make it to the club. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm older. Yeah, I see it. Well, I did read your comment. That's all I'm going to read. Who was an atheist before the movie? He was an atheist before the movie. Oh, I don't know. You got so many comments, bro. I mean, I pick one. I pick one out of the hat. That's it. I know I can't read them all, but your points are taken. What was I going to say? It's really interesting that the 2% of the people that I have really been part of. I was in a supermarket the other day, and somebody was talking about, how I could hear somebody talking about how they rescued somebody. They got them like hooked off. What's the term I'm looking for here? I'm tired. I've been gone since 9 this morning, and then I went to the gym and I did a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyway, they were talking about how they got their friend who was in a bad way, like divine intervention, off of drugs, and it was really bad. Like they were knocking on the door, and I thought, God, how many times, I've done that. And I did that when I was on this too in a little bit. And it's like, that's how I think people should measure what they do when it comes to that. When I was in this church, the guy, he was the husband was, in tears talking about um, how, you always got to show some, and I've seen it a million times on Facebook, especially with people that are super happy. And then all of a sudden they say, never, waste an opportunity to show somebody that you love them. Never, life's too short, and all those metaphors I've heard a million times. And I guess that's why, with the cold weather and all the things that are going on out there, doesn't matter what side, you're on, it's got to be a sick feeling. I was trained to be a fighter. I've been in a lot of, bar brawls, which I never started. I just hated it. I actually didn't like it. But when you watch people fighting, unless you're watching a hockey fight, like in the Red Wings or somebody, or maybe a piston fight, and of course, MMA or, fake wrestling or something like that. When you actually see people really going at it with each other and people really getting hurt, that it puts a weird feeling inside of you. I mean, at least it did for me. You would think it'd be the opposite. You think I would be enjoying it. And I hate when people hurt each other. I really do. I mean, even if they deserve it or they had it coming, and I just look at it and go, man, there's too many other things we can be doing. It's funny because, not to take away anything from the person I took care of, but I was driving. I drive her in her vehicle. She's got a great badass car. I love the car. It handles like a custom rocket ship. So like an amazing sports car. And I like it when I hit it, and it's one of those hybrids. So it does it gets to 90, 0 to 90 in like 2 seconds. Really, I'm like, it's great. But I happened to be at a red light when we left I was in Ypsilanti, and we left the church, after the funeral. We didn't go to the wake or any of that. And because this thing went on for like 3 hours. And there was a homeless guy sitting at the corner with a cardboard sign. And I just reached in my wallet and I had a couple bucks. I gave him $2, not 50 or anything like that. And she looked at me, she goes, you're giving him drug money. And, I've heard that before. But it was funny. I remember my kids, all of them, even Sophia a couple of years ago, and they still had her. And it was over 3 years ago since I seen her. But every time I was with her, we had a good time. And I always would see, anytime I saw somebody at the light, I would give her, I always had money ready in my car, and she would roll down the window and hand it. She liked doing it. She saw me doing it. Dante saw me, Sabrina seen me. They all seen it. And they thought it was cool. They liked it. And Sophia did too. And when I gave that guy the money, he goes, God bless you, whatever. I'm like, I don't know what kind of balls it takes to be outside in the cold. You could say they're lazy, but I mean, I'll be honest with you. I could be the laziest person in the world, and there is no way in hell I'm standing or sitting at any intersection, especially in 20-degree weather for hours at a time, to hopefully have people stare at me, look at me like I'm a bug, and then maybe hand me $2, right? So I figure they got more moxie than I do to do that. All right. And I don't know. Will it come back to me one day when I die? No, but I have this thing. I go, you know what? No matter how bad my life was on this earth, and Harry Karagosian should be here, Mark Randizzi should be here, Janice Alvarez should be here. And I'm thinking to myself, because, Harry was well loved. Mark Randizzi had an amazing career with a lot of people that loved him in Detroit, everywhere, especially all the rich people, all the beautiful people. And, and Janice was a mother of 3. Here I'm just some old guy writing weird songs and doing whatever I can do to, get through this life, whatever's left. But you know what? Every time I have the opportunity, and it's not to win favor, it's not to win God over, but when I leave here, I either believe there's 2 things. There's either something, and maybe it's not, because I'm thinking maybe that all these books in the Bible, there was no computer, there was no internet, there was no anything, there was no technology. And they found these scrolls hundreds of years later, that were burned or stolen or whatever. And they pieced them together and they translated them. I don't know how they translated them. And they put them all together, but we all believe in these things. right? And I'm thinking, okay, so if you guys are right, whoever's out there that takes their religion seriously, and there's a heaven or another side through that door, I think there's either that, something like that, or there's nothingness. And if there's nothingness, then I'm okay. But if there's something out there, I want to be able to say, you know what, no matter how much shit this life gave me, no matter how many Valentine's days I didn't have a date when I was younger, or, or when I broke up with my wife and I was by myself for a couple of years and she was with her, boyfriend or whatever, and I was beating myself up on it, I'm going to go, at least I always gave to people. At least I tried to help people. At least I did that. Did it require religion? Did it require, well, is Presbyterian better than Baptist? Is Baptist better than Catholic? Is Catholic better than Lutheran, Methodist, and did I say Episcopalian? The Assembly of God, where I was today, the Jehovah's Witness. I mean, pick a religion. I mean, I'm like, because they all have their little things. They have their like, well, no, they don't do this. And I was at this one church in Kentucky, my buddy took me to, and a couple of years ago, I don't know, like 2-3 years ago, and I was in Louisville, and it was a real religious church. And he goes, oh yeah, you like this guy? He's really cool, and he's a great talker. And next thing you know, he's talking about everything, and all of a sudden he goes, and he's a cool looking guy, whatever. He looked normal. He didn't look like, something out of Back to the Future or whatever. And he starts going, I'm like, what's wrong with him? And I'm going, what? And he goes, no, he's talking. They go, and all of a sudden he goes, and my buddy's real religious too. He's on here too, and so is his brother, but I don't know if his brother goes to the same church. And I'm going, what the fuck? I'm going, what did he just say? And he's going, and he goes, and then of course the Lord comes down, and he goes, and he looks and goes, and then he goes, I'm going, okay, I know my hearing ain't great, but what the hell did he just say? And he goes, he's talking in tongues. I go, he bit his tongue. I'm going, what? I go, I better go up there. I'm trained for that. I've got EMT paramedic. I go up there. Here, I got my alcohol. I've got my spray. I got some chapstick. What else you got? I got some crazy glue. I'll fix them. I'll hit him in the back and say, hey, work that out, man. What were you saying right now? I thought it was like white rap, because have you ever heard a white person rap? And I'm like, I was like, I thought I was being punked. I go, come on now, man. I go, come on. And he goes, no, he's talking to God. What? Years ago, I went to Catholic schools. I went to a Catholic school probably not even 5 miles from here. At the time, and probably still is, it was the second richest county. And in the county, the richest city in that county in the United States of America. I'm talking West Bloomfield, Oakland County, Michigan, right? And all millionaires. And those houses that were $1 million back then are now worth $20 million or something, right? But it was weird because I learned all that, and I saw people that, that weren't acting anything like the Bible, the forgiveness of Jesus, and looking out for the, the taking care of people and looking out for each other and love thy neighbor, that kind of stuff. That bullshit was out the window. And you're talking 40 plus years ago. So I grew up with it, and I continued on all the way till I graduated from high school. And, Catholic got me. And then one day I just said, I'm not doing no more. So I went to several different denominations, over 200 different churches, you name it. I even went to mosques. I went to temples. I went to Assembly of God. That was a little much. I remember when I went, I go, Assembly of God. Oh, they're going to get into it for like 3 hours, and they did. And they didn't disappoint. It was everything I remembered. But I tried to find it, and I finally one day, not too far from here, but I was living in Troy at the time, which is about 20 miles from here. And there was a church about 5 miles from here And like I said, I hadn't lived in this area in over 30 years. But anyway, and it was called Faith Baptist. In fact, it looked like the White House. It had big columns, it had the roundish, it looked like the White House. In fact, they called it the White House. And it was the most religious people. I donated a car. I gave money. I never gave less than $200 a week when I went there. I donated that kind of money. That's the kind of money I was making. I was donating everything I had, you name it. They didn't ask me to. I just felt like I was giving back, right? It was right after 9/11. It's about a year after. In fact, it was right before my son was born in 2002, and they dedicated him. It was a great church. It was really cool, and I became friends with the pastor, and his name was Jim Combs. In fact, JC, right? Like Jesus Christ. And the guy really blew me away, and we became friends instantly. He had over 25,000 members, people that had been there for 10 plus years or more. And he would always, every time he came in, he would beeline it right to me. It was weird. It was just weird. And we would go out to lunch, we'd go out to dinner. We had for like a long time. And he never tried to hustle me, never asked me for anything. And I thought, okay, I'm home, right? In fact, me and my ex-wife, we got born again. In fact, I requested if we could do it together, meaning we were in this thing. There's this big round baptism thing. And I was thinking, what if I become Jewish? What if I become Muslim? What if I become, I was going to cover all the bases, pick a religion, Buddhist, Hindu. I was going to get it. I mean, whatever I thought, I'll get them all. Why not? Right? Who's going to check? There ain't no like religion police, I don't think. Maybe there is. I don't know. That was before, internet and AI. Well, internet was here, but who's checking? I don't even check now. The only reason I know who you vote for or who you pray to is because people put it out there. You know what I don't do? I don't put it out there. I mean, I just don't. I won't engage because I just, like I said, I'm a fighter, but I pick my battles. I'm not going to pick a battle I can't win. It's like, I had this brother. He's 3 years younger than me. I have two brothers. One's 11 years, one's 3 years younger than me. And he never took a karate lesson in his life. Never went boxing, nothing. But my brother could beat up anybody that got in front of him. He just had it inside of him. I had buddies that were bodybuilders on steroids and 20-inch arms or bigger. And he just walked right through them. He had pain tolerance like I do, even worse. And he just, it was weird. Where's it going with this? It was just, I would see things like that affected people. And I remember we just wouldn't fight. We wouldn't get into battles. I remember there was like literally a mile from here, used to be a big Kmart. Now it's a public storage. It's massive, and U-Haul. And, but anyway, and it was one side was all black because we have a city called Pontiac, about 3 miles from here. It's all black. It's like, okay. And then there's the white area, Waterford, Bloomfield, all that kind of stuff. And it was like a race war. And I was in the middle of my car. I had this really nice car. It was a Lincoln Continental Mark IV. It was gold, vinyl white top, the moon roof and everything. And me and my brother were sitting in a car, middle of winter time, snow covered, and there was ice on it. We could do donuts in the parking lot. And they were ready to go at it after this one club. And they came up to our windows on both sides. Whose side you on? Whose side you on? And we started laughing. We go, man, get off my car. We go, nobody. We're going to watch you idiots go at it. we did. They go, what, over a girl? Over a couple of girls? Get out of here with that. I go, we told no to 5 girls at a time, man. We ain't fighting for this. And he goes, and me and my brother, we're not white or black, so it was kind of funny. And I thought, and I looked at my brother, I go, I wonder one day if this will ever end. He goes, what do you mean? I go, the white versus black or whatever. No. And that was 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago, early 80s. No, about 79, 80. And it was crazy. We looked at each other and, the world hasn't changed that much. No, it did. The people that aren't capable of fighting physically are usually the ones that are the loudest on social media. You're this, you're a loser. Yeah, I see you, you're fat. You're this, you're that, you're weak, you're wacky. I'm like, no, you're weak. I just couldn't deal with it. I'm like, I can't deal with that. I ain't dealing with that. I'm still, no matter what happens in this world, even if there's an atomic war and there's a missile headed my way, I'm just going to put my sunglasses on, sunbathe, but I'm going to try to, if you need my help, the neighbor needs to be rescued, somebody needs to get pushed out of a ditch, a homeless person comes knocking on my door, I'm going to hand him a sandwich. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. I don't care. You don't like me. You know what? If I lost 99% of the friends on my Facebook, I know my life isn't going to change. My bills aren't paid. And that's the way it works, right? Valentine's Day is kind of the same way. We're obligated. We're obligated to give candy or jewelry, definitely a card, definitely take them out to eat. If you don't, you ain't getting sex, number one, right? Sex. I won't even get into that. Or you're going to get divorced or something bad's going to happen, right? There's kind of like a ultimatum. That's what Valentine's Day. It's probably Italian for ultimatum day. You know what I mean? If you don't show me some kind of material love, you ain't getting any. You ain't getting any V. All right. That's probably what that means. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'll have to run that through the AI, ChatGPT or something, and see if I come up with a good answer for that. Sorry. I could be more brutally honest. You have no idea how much I pulled back. I pulled back for 6 years, and I'm still going to pull back because I have certain people that are very, how do you say it? Not religious, maybe conservative. But I know that I'm the only one who does this, so what the hell, right? And I know I got people sitting in the back going, but you know what? Here's the thing. I would still help most of the people out there just because. And that's what I think we're supposed to be about. That's what I thought being American was. I thought we were like the cool guy in the school. Remember when you were in school and you got to hang out at the cool table? Not the bully table. The bully table's bullshit. Every bully I've ever met, most of them that went to my Catholic school, I became friends with one of them. I remember about 6 years ago, I came, he's still big, but we're not friends on Facebook anymore. Don't know what happened. And, I thought we made our peace. I thought we had our olive branch, moment. In fact, he called me when my son died and said, he goes, I'm the reason your son, that probably happened. I go, huh? It's a long story. I won't get into that. But I think at the end of the day, got to look out for each other. And if you got friends out there, encourage them, support them. You may not like everything they say or do, but if they're trying to do something to make the world change, right, Vinny? That's what you got to do. And I know I got a lot of haters in my group. I do. I know people talk about me, and it's okay. I'm too old to care. I'm really too old to care. I was at the gym today. I felt phenomenal. I trained good. I went to the funeral. I was dressed in a nice, I got my Hugo Boss suit. I did everything I was supposed to do today. And I finished my song. In fact, at the end of this, you'll hear the rest of it. I altered my voice a little bit, because I'm doing this. Hey, you don't mind if I don't. Okay. And, but it's about leaving something. I remember I had a couple Rolexes, really nice ones, but I had to sell them and pay lawyers when I got divorced. My ex-wife gave me this, I don't know, 10 years before we were divorced. I don't even know how old this thing is. People still like it. It's a Movado. I think it was about $1,000 at the time. I just put a new battery in it about a month ago. Still works. I wore it today. It's called the Esperanza. It's gold and silver. But, my life isn't based on this, even if it was worth $1 million, even if this was plutonium, it's based on simple things. And I know that I've surrounded myself around a lot of people that aren't like that, unfortunately. But I still care about them in some way. That's why I know I'm better off alone most of the time. And that's what's kept a lot of people that wanted to end their life after my son died. The day after my son died, I had people calling me ready to end their lives, not because of that, but because of their own reasons. And they happened to see me, and it must have triggered them, or somebody pointed them in my direction, or they couldn't find love, or they fell out of love, or somebody cheated on them, or, they had a million reasons. And you know what? I know what that feels like. My ex-wife's lawyer kept trying to accuse me of having, what was it? I know Linda's on there. That wasn't delusions of grandeur. No, it was, God, I can't even think of the term. Ideation, suicidal ideations. And I'm going, no, but if there was a door right there and I could walk through it and today was like, if I could walk through it and I left Earth for good, I'd be okay. But while I'm here, I try to do what I do, and even if I do it alone, and I taught people that stayed here to this day. In fact, I see about 6 or 7 people today that I forgot about. Not forgot about, but I haven't talked to them since they had these long discussions days after my son had passed away, and I was losing my mind, and I'm going to give up. I haven't lost anybody. The only people that I lost, if there's anybody left out there to see this or hear this, and that's okay if there isn't, but I'm going to leave it out there as if I was the Martian, Matt Damon in the movie where he's recording his life, or the other guy, what's his name from Avatar? You're recording it. This is because I don't want a funeral. I don't want a funeral. Number one, why? I don't want nobody to ever see me in a casket. I mean, that woman that I saw in the casket, when I saw my buddy the other day in a casket, okay, I'm glad I don't have 1 million followers or anybody, but I know that there will be at least a couple hundred eyes on this later. And the reason I don't is because when I saw my son, I was so pissed. It didn't even look like him. I don't care who they hire. You know how you're always getting your hair done or your makeup done somewhere, and you look good for like a whole day. It is like, no, that lady did not even look like the pictures they were showing on the big screen for like an hour. And I don't want people to see me like that. People don't want to see me alive. Why would they want to see me dead? Right? I got 2 hefty bags, throw me in it, feed me to the deer or the fish, the raccoons, whatever's out there, coyotes, I don't care. And I'm good. In fact, I have it in my will that you are not allowed. Nobody is allowed. In fact, Linda, if you're out there, make a contest, because I have the money in my, when I die, I'm worth a lot of money. $10,000 to all my haters out there that pretend to be my lovers. Or not my lovers, but my, whatever. And whoever has the best, or like when I die, you give that person $10,000 that you pick that, said, hey, you know what? I remember Chris, and he was cool. Whoever says, a genuine thing that you think is real, they win $10,000, 100% cash, $10,000. That's enough, right? A lot of people don't, when people die, how many people give you 10 grand, right? So that's that. And then I want you to give everybody that, whatever's in my storage unit. I got a big storage unit. So that's it. I don't want anybody. No, when I leave here, I don't even want nobody. In fact, don't even tell anybody. Don't even tell me. Say, oh, he moved to Switzerland or something like that, and just leave it at that. But if you do find out, have that contest. That would be cool. $10,000, and then what the rest with charity and all that. So I will say this. I guess we're getting Justin Verlander back to Detroit after all those years. Never won a pennant here. Went to Houston Astros, I think, with Kate Upton. Got married. I think he's got kids with her now. Won the World Series right after. Didn't he pull that? Who else did that? Matthew Stafford, right? And but I guess he's coming back. That'd be kind of cool, huh? So good for that. That's coming up in about a month or so. When is that? April opening day, Vinny. And then last but not least, today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, Saturday. What a perfect day if you really have it. I mean, the weather's going to be nice. It's a lot better than it was a week ago, 0 degrees. Trust me. Make an appointment this Saturday to have, something nice for your loved one, even if it's something simple, and for the ladies out there, be forgiving. The guy he may not make a lot of money. So, if he takes you through the drive-through, get the Happy Meal or whatever is good. If you write a little poem, write a song, or sing something, sing a love song off the radio. That's kind of cool, right? I know there's people going, hell no, shut up. If he's not taking me first class on a trip somewhere, I get it. That's fine. Hope he's got money. But no, I just, what? I think it's more than just a holiday. I think it's somebody, if you got somebody cool, be nice to them. And extend it to your family, extend it to your parents if they're still around. Extend it to, your neighbors. Extend it to those people that don't have anybody in their life or aren't lucky in love, right? That's what I would do. That's what I did when I was at the clubs. I would sit there and go, I see all these people. God, those poor guys, they have no game. Those girls that come in all dressed up, they never get asked. And you know what? I kind of would nudge them. I would like, hey, you guys, go talk to those girls. Oh, no. Hey, no. It's funny. I got to tell you a story. There's people on here. In fact, I DJ'd their wedding. There was a girl. Well, let me back up. I'll say this real quick. I had a friend of mine. His name was Rick Pop. He worked for me back at around 30 years ago. Exactly 30 years ago, as a matter of fact, when I started my company. He's the first guy to work for me. Well, he loved when I DJ'd at all the clubs in Detroit. And I worked at Wild Woody's. I would work at the Hamlin, what's it called? The Hamlin Club, not the Hamlin Club, Hayloft Liquor Stand. That's what it was called. And I would work all these different bars. And him and his buddy would follow me around. Kenny. And Kenny would wear this dog choker. We don't know why he wore it, but he wore this dog collar. And they would follow me around. Well, there was these two other girls, and one was this girl, I forgot her name, Katie, but her and Rick really liked each other. And they kept trying to hook up. Well, she had this friend, and Susie. And Susie would always come up. And, she was, her and I would talk, and she was always friendly. She'd flirt with me a little bit. But, I was kind of in this transition phase. So I don't know how it happened. But Kenny, who was kind of, crazy, not crazy, but he was just, a little animated, and Rick's friend, and her started talking. Next thing you know, they're dating. Next thing you know, I'm DJing their wedding. And that was like 30 years ago, or I don't know, 20, I think it was like 25, 26 years ago. They're still together. And they're like this. They are tight. It's not even funny. And they're on my Facebook. And I see them all the time. And I always smile when they put their things. And I go, yeah, I DJ'd your wedding. I always make jokes. And so you never know. And I feel like I feel like Cupid. I don't know. So I made a fool of myself for how long? 47 minutes. All right. And I wasn't trying to attack religion. I'm just trying to figure it out. I got to use AI to figure it out. I have no idea how things work. And, but it's getting warmer. The sun's coming out longer. You can wash your car at least. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. Grandmothers are getting abducted. I don't know what's going on with that. We're fighting over things because we must be bored. I don't know what it is. I don't want to fight. Please don't get me involved with fights. I just can't do it. So if you think I'm the weird ass, that's fine. You know what? I don't have my kids anymore. I don't have that. It's better. I should have never gotten married. I'm not marriage material. I'm not boyfriend material. I'm not anything. Call me what you want. They called me names in school. They picked on me when I was younger. When I got older and cooler, I don't know what happened, but I had a good ride for about a good 10 plus years. And then I got married, and then the rest, and I got old. So I hope you guys have a good night. Have a great night. Christine, you're right. And I've got a lot of bad luck coming my way this next couple of weeks. I'm working through it, but I didn't stop myself from going to pay my respects. I didn't stop from going to the gym. I didn't stop from finishing my song. And I hope that maybe somebody likes it one day, and if not, just use it and sing it. And the beauty of you is basically, it wasn't just the physical beauty. That's why I wrote it. It's about the beauty of somebody's heart, their mind, their soul, and it controls and consumes them just enough where it's a good feeling to have that person. And it could be just a friendship too. It doesn't have to be a love, like a romantic love. It could be a love of somebody. It could be your parent, it could be your children, it could be your coworker, it could be your best friend, whatever the case may be. That's what it's about. And I guess that's it. I'm gonna watch the news and finish my songs and go to sleep and take my milk of magnesia and my put on my Depends and whatever else I got. All right. Am I even still on? I don't even know if I'm still on. I think I put everybody to sleep. Let me look. Hold on a second. Wait, where am I? Oh, am I there? I guess. All right. All right. That's it. I'm going to where's my song here? Hold on a second. All right. This is it. The beauty of you. Have a great Valentine's Day. Don't forget, go to the dollar store, do whatever you got to do, or just take a pen and a piece of paper or a napkin. I got my napkins right here, my vanity napkins, and write just a nice little love note. Whatever. Keep simple. All right, man.
The very air I breathe is the oxygen you give me. The kind of love I need is what you provide me. And there's nothing that's more beautiful than you. Revives me. The beauty of you remains my soul within. The beauty of you relights the fire inside. And I don't mind, no I don't mind, if you don't mind at all.